So 84% of our lives, they say, is spent in buildings or around buildings. It's a very large portion. We do not notice that, but during times like the pandemic, we did.
So for those of you who are new with us today, the Blue Circle is an exclusive community and ecosystem which is curated for business leaders to help them manage disruptive times and become future ready. We focus on the four fundamental sectors, which are energy, e-mobility, real estate, and healthcare. We also present socioeconomic insights from time to time, which ultimately determine the evolving complexion of the market. In response to the COVID challenge, the Blue Circle has also accentuated its digital presence. One of the many modes which we employ is our weekly webinar series, our digital publication and research. And in addition to this, and you will be happy to know that we're very soon launching an exclusive digital platform curated for leaders, which is going to be the LinkedIn for leaders, wherein we will present them with the opportunity of connecting with people just like them, also house high quality curated content like we do, have meaningful conversations and business opportunities as well shared across these four sectors. Those leaders who are interested, please do write to us. We've already begun our selective outreach for memberships, and you would be happy to know that we've got over 1,500 senior leaders who've signed up in the last 2 to 3 months. So for today's session, we have the topic of today's session is public intellectual, Mr. Pavan Choudary, in conversation with legendary architect, Mr. Hafeez Contractor, on villa townships post-COVID-19. COVID and the subsequent lockdown has underlined the need for low-density living in spaces where social distancing measures can be effectively enforced. Today, the discussion will revolve around rise in demand for independent homes in gated communities, which provide the option to customize easy access to essential services, safety, and privacy. We're privileged and honored to have invited leaders, such distinguished leaders, to discuss this. While they need no introduction, I will just briefly mention their names and designations. We have with us Mr. Hafeez Contractor, who is a legendary Indian architect, Padma Bhushan Awardee. His name is behind iconic homes, hotels, stadiums, railway stations, and airports across India and the world. And we have with us Mr. Pavan Choudary, who's a best-selling author, CEO of French multinational, Chairman MTI, and sits on several boards across the country. Thank you very much, sirs, for gracing our presence with this event today. And now I request Mr. Choudary to please chair and moderate this session.
Thank you very much, Siddharth. And welcome, Hafeez ji. What a big pleasure, privilege, and honor for us to have a person who has created the skylines of so many cities.
Thank you very much, Mr. Choudary. Thank you for having me with talking to you.
So thank you very much. And thank you very much, audience. Again, you are joining in large numbers. And the creme de la creme, it is told, is there to participate here. Thank you very much. So 84% of our lives, they say, is spent in buildings or around buildings. It's a very large portion. We do not notice that, but during times like the pandemic, we did. And there is an interesting history of the intersection of healthcare, architecture, and design. Even before it was known that microorganisms cause pandemics, there was a theory called miasma theory which was prevalent, which was a dubious theory, but that was the current theory more than 200 years ago, that pandemics are caused by fumes which come out from the soil. And what was the response which architecture and construction brought to this problem? Thousands and thousands of kilometers of land was paved with flagstones. If you will go to Europe, you will see that entire paving of the soil was done to prevent these fumes from rising. Then came cholera and zoning restrictions it brought, how how the buildings will be distanced. Sewer systems were brought because of cholera. Coming closer to when the humanity understood that microorganisms are responsible for pandemics, we saw sleeping porches. In Victorian homes, you will see second floor balcony-like structure is jutting out, which is not really seems in its place. Sleeping porches, this was brought by tuberculosis. Because before the antibiotics came, the only way to heal these diseases was air and sunshine. Then powder rooms which we see at the entry of homes came because ice and coal were delivered daily by boys to the kitchens. So they used to come from various homes and could not be allowed without some sanitizing and some hand washing, etc. So powder rooms close to the entry of the homes came up. Tuberculosis also brought white tiles, easy to clean, identify the dirt and grime there. And overall, one of the most recent interventions by architects was cupboards, built-in cupboards. Earlier, cupboards for clothes were heavy furniture which had to be moved, which was difficult to clean below, etc. So Le Corbusier, uh, 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 an architect who Europe, France, and Switzerland are proud of, like we are proud of Hafeez ji, uh, really pushed for built-in cupboards, closets. So, lot of changes as you see, pandemics brings. They say that form follows function. I feel form in architecture has also followed infection. So, coming to this pandemic, Hafeez ji, how will this pandemic shape home architecture? And what kind of houses you feel will people prefer? House types will people prefer? Hafeez ji.
Uh, I I think see, the thing is like this, that when as regarding the pandemic, okay, why is this pandemic there? Why it is not there? And one of the main reasons, everyone is saying, and it's because of those zonistic, diseases, which this is one of that. And one of the reasons is that we have to find and we have to have reasons uh, of how to increase greenery, how to decrease use of fossil fuel, and the final thing is we have to take care of climate change, and that is one of the main reasons. Now, how and what to do as far as architecture is concerned, there is something like on a global scale, on an India scale. This is a topic, which we can talk about it for hours and hours and hours. But the most important thing, I would say, that how the house design, let us look at it, how the house design will change. I would say that first and foremost, that at least we have started following is how you should design the houses most economically, so that you don't waste material, and you don't waste resources, because resources is the most important thing. And whatever you do, you should do it in such a way that uh, the green spaces are increased, so that finally, how do we get circumvent the one of the reasons is global warming, and one of the most easiest way everybody says is to plant so many millions and millions of trees, and that if you look at it, what is the area to be planted is virtually the size of USA and size of partly is the size of China, but that you cannot get that kind of an area. So it is good for everyone and everyone to put in a bit. And in each and every place, we do not cut trees, do not fell trees, we preserve forest, and we plant more trees, more greenery. I feel that it would help. So that's the first way that I would say that we should have it. The second thing is that how far this way of living is going to go. A lot of people are working from home, and when you're working from home, you require more space for yourself. You require the family members also require more space for themselves. So because you just can't be coming in way of each and every one. So a slightly larger house, a slightly more open house would be more desired. And so that's a lot of houses that we have been designing right now for a lot of large developers, and the requirement of a study space was very, very important. A study nook was very important. Otherwise, I there is not really much of a change, but taking care that whatever you are doing, you are not wasting anything. So we started another movement, and we called it zero waste architecture, where we started analyzing in each and every design that we did originally, and we said that can we do it in such a way that it can be done more economically? And if this was being constructed in 100 cubic meter of material, can it be done in 75 cubic meter of material? And initially we felt that, oh, this is not going to be possible. And we were surprised to see that yes, we were able to do it. So not only we saved on the materials, but finally the materials gave rise to that it became more economical. And another thing that it gave to the person who was doing it, made it cheaper, so that he could either construct a little more or he could save on money. Now, we still look at it as a money, but I look at it as a resource for the country. Now, if you look at it, everybody thinks that, oh, resources are going to be unlimited, and people say that, oh, I don't care, let me do my things the way I do. But it's a very good saying today that we are at such a level in our life, or in the life of the universe, that we may be the last generation who can do something about climate change, uh, or uh, 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 or there might not be any other generation who can do anything further for climate change, because if we are on a downhill and the ball is rolling, and we have to stop it, okay? If we do not stop it, uh, the ball will take the momentum and start. So whatever you do, we have to think about that and do it. So that's my way of looking at it.
No, no, very good. So basically, you are saying that we should be conscious about the carbon footprint and the ecological impact of whatever construction is doing, and the carbon footprint of construction is really substantial in the overall carbon footprint. And this ecological awareness will also bring some economic advantages, is what you're saying. Very good point. So, post the pandemic, what kind of homes will people prefer? Will they prefer apartments or will they prefer stand-alone buildings? And what is your objective view on this?
See, now this is a question coming to an architect. Yes, okay, I do different kinds of work, and one can not just say that, oh, this is the thing for a person. Maybe in the center of a city, I would say that, oh, a person would prefer it in this kind of a complex. Where it is, outskirts of the city, he would prefer it in a different way. So the answer is not one specific. At different location, it will be different. But had it been that, I would say that whether a high rise or a low rise, it definitely depends upon a project. You just can't say that, generally, somebody will say, no, no, I would like to have a high rise, and somebody will say, oh, no, no, I would like to have a low rise. Where, what size, what amount, finances, everything has to be looked at it. And then in what manner you are getting, that is very, very important.
Very right. In fact, a leading thinker on this, who you very well know about, Jane Jacobs, has also come to a similar conclusion. She says that cores of the city will need to have high rises because cities are the centers of creativity, capital, and connections, where people come together and feed off each other's ideas and capital and resources and create enterprises. So those social interactions are necessary. That's why those neighborhoods need to be a little more dense, and outskirts can be more sparser. So um, on the whole, if you had a choice to live between an apartment and a villa, what would you prefer from the health point of view in the immediate aftermath of the pandemic?
I would say that I would like to have a combination of both. Uh, to have a small apartment nearby my office, and to have a villa where I can go and spend my little bit of a leisure time. Or I would say that maybe, 3 4 days I would like to stay in a villa. It's always and maybe, when I have to get up early and go to office, work late, and then come home late or something like that, I can tell my wife that, oh, let's meet at our apartment very close by to the office. So that's where I would like to have. Uh, but I don't know what would you like to have.
So,
But a life, like I'll tell you, I have a house in Kandala, and whenever I go there, I say that, oh, and I tell my wife, I think, we should live over there. It's so much peaceful. It's so nice. It's so you get up in the morning, you see the birds chirping. The air is different. It's just not Kandala, but whenever you are at the ground level, and the garden is watered, the air is different. Everything is different, and your attitude towards life completely changes. So I would say that yes, my life's ambition is to live in a house or a villa.
frankly speaking, I do not have a house in the hills, but we were recently at a beautiful house in near Shimla, And what I loved there was the lawn and the backyard to relax and rejuvenate. I live in a large apartment in Gurgaon, but this was something else. I could stargaze. There was no public elevator to give me the fear of traveling with people together and exposing myself to an infection. There was also a lot of audio privacy. That means there was no villa in the vicinity and no apartment. These days in COVID, I've noticed all the apartments are having some or the other repairs going on or some remodeling going on. So thuk, 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 thuk keeps on going. And I'm glad it is not happening right now because today is a Sunday. And so we chose a very good day to talk.
It is happening right now in my building, and I can hear it.
Yeah, we could hear that. I'm glad that it is just proving my case. And I also liked the fact that the air there was not getting recirculated. It was being sent out. So, plus, of course, that all that privacy I was getting in that home. And I would like you to add to this because you have this villa in Khandala. What else do you like in a villa? Of course, we'll also take a look at what do apartments provide.
What the question was? What
What
else?
what 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 else? What else pulls you to your villa?
Uh, let's look at it from the point that, okay, I have come from my office or from somewhere outside. The first thing is the parking. In a lot of places, you have your own definite car park. Somebody has done something, somebody has thrown some garbage on your car park, or somebody has parked in a wrong way so that you cannot park. So that's the first thing. If you are in a villa, you have your own garage or your own parking space. So that is completely, your own. Second, you are in the entrance lobby. Entrance lobby in a villa is, yes, kept proper, clean. Sometimes it is not clean. Your own house, it is always to your own liking. You get into the house, the perfume is to your liking. Uh, I'm talking about a villa. When you are entering your house, you are surrounded by your own greenery, which may not be in a high rise. And as you said that I don't have to catch a lift or anything, I entered my house directly. uh, I can go and sit on my veranda and do my work. I can sit in my living room, which, in my apartment, yes, I'll sit on a living room. If I have a large balcony, yes, I can sit on a balcony. So, and in a villa, I have a higher heights. I have my own staircase. The feeling of having your own staircase uh, and all of that is very, very different because that gives a different touch to the whole apartment and to the whole house. And, and a staircase combines the whole space. So, but I'm lucky that in my house in the Mumbai city also, I have a duplex, so I have a staircase, I have a large veranda. So, but that's a different thing. But I feel that, yes, looking at uh, a city house and a villa, yes, there are many, many more points which I would love. And, I would say that, yes, if you can afford it, have it.
Now I am doubly jealous of you. First is now I'm doubly jealous of you. First is you have a beautiful villa in Khandala. Secondly, you have an awe-inspiring staircase. I don't have a staircase also in my home, but it's a very interesting point which you bring in. You also are talking about ownership. And I really can understand that if there is a staircase in the house, gives you a greater reassurance as a famous architect whose name I'm forgetting. I think it's Andrea Palladio, who said that your house should be elegant if you can afford it, and it should have a gravitas, because architecture around you creates mental states, and it invokes you to go into a calm and dignified kind of mental space when it is itself calm and dignified. And also it gives you it seductively takes you to reassuring spaces. It's like a confident friend who gives you reassuring murmurs, your house. And I'm sure those murmurs are getting accentuated through things like a staircase. Beautiful point you brought, Fizji. And the other point which you have brought in is the your own parking and the perfume, that tailor making of the space which is possible. I would also like to add to it one our own nameplate on a gate is quite different from our own nameplate on our apartment door. What is your take on that?
Very true, very true. And see, finally, a villa is, you're owning a land, and that makes quite a lot of difference. It's like you have a tree which you like certain flowers of that tree. Like whenever I take a walk in my locality, I make it a point to walk on that part of the road where there is a cannonball tree. And the cannonball tree is called, some Shiv something, which has got a flower which comes like a nag. I don't know the Indian name, and the flowers fall down profusely. Same way, whenever I go to Velatpia, I try and go on one of the streets where there are so many Indian cork tree, and in the morning, long white flowers fall down. And so, but see, to have a relation with land, land is one thing which God has created. You may create the best kind of the buildings and the best kind. Land, in a relation with land and what comes out of it, and which the villa is much, much more nearer to it. So you'll have more affiliation to that. Uh, yes, a building is a necessity. A high-rise building is a necessity with the kind of population that we have. And we have to think about many, many more things than just a house. So a high-rise is a necessity. This is a luxury. I would say that to have a villa is a luxury. And how far you are going to have that luxury uh, in our country is a different question. And that one can talk about it, in a different way. But I would say a villa is a luxury. And
You very rightly said. In fact, I was reminded of Mark Twain. Mark Twain said that I advise you to buy land because they are not making any more of it. And
correct.
and that reminds me of my father. He used to say that one should have a house which has the jameen also and the chat also, and that perhaps comes through in a villa. However, you also say that villa is right now a luxury. In the aftermath of the pandemic, do you feel that if the pandemics keep on coming, then villas may become more of a necessity? And second question is, if you were to choose, which is your favorite villa-based community which you've designed, villa-based estate which you've designed, which one would you choose and for what reasons?
I really pray to God that the pandemic should not be the way of life, or that they should keep on coming. And more than any we have designed lots and lots of villa complexes. We were doing lots of villa complexes a few years back. Today also we are doing, but we are doing one of the villa complexes that right now we have started is the one for Lodha, which is very close by to the Mumbai city. This is in the suburbs of Thana. And the best part about that is that it was just unused land. It was not something like a forest or something like that, that we had to cut so many trees. In fact, we are going to plant trees. And we have seen that we make the least of the roads. And when we are making the roads also, and the pavement, we have done it in such a way that it is environmentally, it will allow the water percolation, and we will plant hundreds of trees and species which are going to be, the local trees which will grow well and which will give support to the birds. Okay, so that's one complex that I am really looking forward, and I feel that that will be a very nice complex.
Great. I've also read about it, and I've got a lot of information from the Lodha team on that. Um, what is special about the structure, the external structure? How have you designed the structure in this estate?
You're talking about the Lodha structure?
Lodha estate.
Yeah, okay. See, the Lodha one, I must say that, the Lodha team was really very demanding, and we went through a lot of interaction. Uh, uh, which one, how, and what was the aesthetic, what was the area, how much land should be given, and we came to a figure that after a lot of minuses, and finally, after finalizing the plans, and when we were finalizing the plans, the first thing that we took care of was that each and everything was done on the principles of Vastu, right from the plot, the roads, everything was as per Vastu. Each and every room was designed as per Vastu. So the villa was completely designed as per Vastu. And finally, after doing all of that, we came to that what the villa should look like. Should it be a contemporary design? Should it be, completely ethnic? Uh, or should it be what kind? And we toured with several different looks, and finally, I'm very happy that the client also liked it, and we came to a look of a classical architecture. Now, when a lot of architects, a lot of architects don't. In fact, some of them like it, some of them don't like it. Okay, but I have one affiliation towards classical architecture. Not that I don't have any affiliation or liking towards the contemporary, but that is one architecture where, with years and years and years, you maintain it, don't maintain it. Uh, the building still looks respectable and it carries off. So, so this is what I feel that having an architecture like that uh, would look nice, and it is timeless. It is existing since hundreds of years, and I can tell you, styles will come and styles will go, and this will stay for uh, another hundreds of years. So why not have that? So that is we have selected a classical architecture style.
Great. Great point. In fact, I am reminded of Louis Kahn. one of the greatest architects, your predecessor from America, he used to say that bring traditional elements of architecture to their rightful places in the canons of design, because these are not classic for no reason. They are classic because either they weather better. On another occasion, you were telling me that even bird shit, etc., they somehow are more. They can take it better. So
Absolutely.
and this kind of a design also gives a gravitas and an elegance and a splendor to the home, which, as we discussed, is very important for the owner for psychological reasons also.
Very true.
And the other point you said was the very ecologically sensitive development it is, wherein not only you have planted trees, you have planted trees which will promote the local habitat of birds. Great points. What else do you think is there in the externalities of the ecosystem? That means I believe there is a lake also, a walkway
Yeah,
around
yeah.
the lake.
Yeah, I was
What
just
else
going to
have you
talk
planned?
about it that whatever the water bodies were there, we have tried and retained it. And once we are going to retain that water body, because I think there was something like a quarry, so the water will stay. It'll definitely attract a lot of birds. I can't say that it'll attract animals because I don't think that the so, but and another very good point is, if I'm sure you must have noticed that virtually from all the cities, sparrows have virtually disappeared, and that's one of the. And if you look at it, why sparrows have disappeared? Because the habitat, in all the old buildings used to have some crevices, something. They used to have their some small nest. Now with this all this clean, neat, and so but I would say that we all architects and builders and everybody is responsible. But I think if you get up and say that, oh, uh, let us have something by which we at least again take care of them also. And I was just designing another building, and I was making a kind of a facade which I made it with small holes. Uh, thinking that let's a sparrow can also make his nest, and that I feel it was successful.
No, I'm glad that you're bringing up these points. They're very new points, and that means the imperfections or the let me say not the clean lines which we see were providing abodes for these birds. That's a great point. You also have pet-friendly zones you've planned in this complex. You have a temple and a sports cafe, library, walking track around the lake, picnic spots and shaded nooks to promote social interaction also. That is great. And on the ecological piece, you have also wastewater recycling and solar power panels. That's great.
Yeah.
What about the inside? So the inside is left to the autonomy of the buyer. How's the inside to be designed?
Uh, 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 as far as this complex is concerned, we are going to give them the plan, and if they want to make any modifications within the plan, they are free to do that. Uh, 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 we are just going to tell them that the external facade they cannot change, because once we have determined a character, and the character is carried forward religiously, then the whole value of the whole area increases. But if you give it leave it loose, then anybody will do what they like. Not that what they like is not correct, but aesthetically they may not select the right way. So we are putting some kind of a restriction, and that restriction will definitely help them.
At the same time, the internal spaces are amenable for flexible, adaptable, and supple design. Because
Correct.
now
Correct.
because work from home is increasing, and if pandemics keep on coming back, then we will need noise-proof enclosures, video-friendly enclosures, elderly people-friendly spaces. So all that is already covered.
Yep.
So I feel that we've had a great discussion around the villa and how pandemics are shaping architecture. And I will, since we are already a little above time, I will just take one of the many questions which have come and ask the organizers to connect people directly to the panel, to Mr. Hafeez Contractor, if there are any questions which are still pending, though I tried to weave a lot of what has come in from various very well informed audience, it seems. Uh, Let me just take one question. This is from Mr. N. Sridhar. He's the CEO infrastructure of Hiranandani Group. He's asking, investor interest in second home villas will now be more accentuated post-COVID. Do you agree? And design and safety, hygiene, and design thinking will lead the demand in this niche area. Hafeez ji.
Yes, I think in our conversation, this question is already virtually answered. Uh, there is no big thing that, yes, we want to keep safe distances. Uh, we want to have a healthier living. Not that, a high rise is not a healthier living, but you can have your own vegetable garden. You can have your own, you can do your exercises on the lawn of your own house. So a villa, whether pandemic or no pandemic, it's a much more luxurious and much more royal way of living. You have your own house. How much of land that you have depends upon your financial status or your how lucky you are.
One more question which is coming from several people, and this is in my mind also, and that is that we have all had experiences with builders, and these experiences have been largely mixed. Many of the promises are kept, several promises are not kept also. So, what is your advice as an architect, because you have dealt with so many builders? How would you give your stamp of approval to the Lodha group as a group which does what it says?
See, I would say that there are a few builders. I would say that yes, they whatever they say that they will provide that. Yes, they have been providing, and there are a few builders in Delhi. There are a few builders in Bombay, and I would say that one of them in Mumbai is the Lodha Group. And I have seen this that whatever they are saying that they are going to provide this while designing to me that, oh, we'll do this, we'll do this, we'll do this. Whichever projects that we have done, they have done it absolutely successfully. And they have never come and say, oh, let us take out this or take out that. So that I can surely, in an affirmative way, say that they will do what is promised. And that's a very, very important point. And also the time limit. And the third thing, you'll get your property on time and you'll get your property. So this is what is very, very important when you're dealing with a developer. And that I can definitely say this for Lodha and very, very few others also.
Great. That reassures me also that as the anchor of this or moderator of this conversation, we have had the backdrop of a reliable builder while we discussed uh, some engagement between architecture and social discourse and social knowledge, which you so well illuminated. Many a time, architecture and social discourse and social knowledge do not come together. So I think we have come together in the shade of a builder who is so well endorsed by you, and that reassures me also and makes me very happy. On that note, Hafeez ji, thank you very much. I will pass the microphone now on to Siddharth, but before that, I will also thank the audience which came in such large numbers and has stayed back in such large numbers.
Thank you,
Siddharth.
Mr. Choudary. Thank you, Mr. Choudary.
Siddharth. Siddharth, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. So thank you very much, sirs. Leaders and I have taken home so many nuggets from today's conversation. Thank you for joining us on a Sunday. I'm still receiving positive messages from our leaders on LinkedIn and over email. And thank you to our members and guests for joining us this weekend and staying till the end and for sharing excellent questions. Along with our weekly webinar, we will also soon be taking these discussions onto the exclusive digital networking and idea exchange platform curated for leaders. We've begun sending out invitations to our select leaders across 4 sectors, which are real estate, healthcare, energy, and e-mobility. Thank you to the Lodha team for curating this wonderful panel and this event. Whether you would like to engage with us on our expert panel or as learners, our leaders are invited to connect for membership, to join the real estate circle and get access to industry leaders and other industry circles as well. So thank you once again, sirs. Thank you, the audience, and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.